Welcome to my guide on how the engine works, its processes, and how it gets power from your fuel tank to your tires. So, as you can see, just looking down at it, it looks pretty complex. It's not too easy just to understand what's going on here throughout the entire engine if you don't really know exactly what you're looking at. So, the first thing that you need to understand is how everything gets started. And the key to that is right here. This is the battery. And their battery will often be situated towards the front. You can usually find them just by looking out for the handle, the box. But how this is set up is, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell, there are these wires running from the battery down. And this wire here will lead to a start motor situated just under this large area here. The start motor's job is to start the piston cycle and make sure everything is going. Now, other wires, as you can see, they split off around here and they run into this area. These wires attach themselves to the spark plugs. Their job is to fire a charge and basically ignite the fuel inside of the engine in cycles, as more is sucked in. Now that that's covered, energy coming from the battery and all that situated, what happens next? So when the start motor begins, it will drive the cylinders down, allow fuel to be sucked into the cylinders. All of this is taking place in here, the main engine block. But the cylinders will suck in the fuel and drive up. The start motor takes place for the first couple cycles. After enough fuel is, combusted and, pressurized, eventually the power will just allow the pistons to become self-sustaining, and there will be no problems with more power generation in the future. It's a 4-stroke engine, the 4 cycles: intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust. Those are what the cylinders run on. So intake sucks in that fuel, compression compresses it, combustion ignites it, and exhaust, all of the carbon that's left over is taken out into the exhaust pipe. Now, before we head on to the transmission and the crankshafts, I'm sure, as you can tell, there's a lot of just extra mumbo jumbo in here. This area and, all that back in there. While it is important, it's not really super important for what we're discussing today. So the better thing to do is just going to be move on and discuss the crankshafts and the transmission. This unit right here, now that we're under the vehicle, is the transmission. You can't really see the transmission because it's covered in this casing, but it is crucial to the next step of the vehicle's operation, because it is basically, think of the transmission as a distribution center or a warehouse. When power comes from the engine, it enters the transmission, and the transmission sends it to the wheels, it stops it, it slows it, it makes sure everything's spinning in order. A wheel moving faster than the other, the engine's producing the proper amount of torque to get you up a hill, or to get you, producing enough speed to get you through downhills or flats where you may be moving quicker. Once the transmission is done, it will spin this shaft right here, which is known as the drive shaft. As you can see, the drive shaft runs up into this right here, and it continues to run all the way down the vehicle, straight in the middle, until it gets right there. On a rear wheel drive vehicle, such as this one, obviously the rear tires spin. This is what makes the tires, or this is what takes rotating motion from the drive shaft, it turns it the other way, and it allows it to spin the tires. As you can see, if we get up in here, this is attached by a series of shafts, again, to the tires. And what it does is it basically turns, like I said, it's the junction. Once it goes through here, it's pretty straight into the tires. There's not a whole lot to talk about. And this is the last step. Obviously, there's a lot of tiny details that will not be covered, but this is the main gist. You know, if you want to understand basic engine function and vehicle function, this is what you need to know. I know I haven't explained everything there is to explain about this little vehicle right here, or just any vehicle in general, but that would take an astronomical amount of time. The best way to learn things is to experiment, or to learn the basics, then experiment yourself with your own vehicle. Try to diagnose and fix little issues instead of taking it straight to the mechanic. And after enough time, you'll have mastery over the mechanics and the operations of your vehicle.